I'm back. Yes, I have now made another video. Honestly, this is one of the only this channel is uh I don't know. I just like having this weird secret channel where I just talk about stuff like the stuff I've been talking about, like real stuff, real life, you know, and not getting talking about fictional stuff. But I kind of want to add I want to I'm just being honest. I think it's just me being honest with how I feel about my current situation in the world and stuff, and what's going on in the world and all that stuff. But here's the thing. I was watching a video essay about Senator Armstrong in the Metal Gear Solid franchise. Mind you, I have not played any of the games myself. I've watched gameplays and I've watched the stories and I've looked at the lore videos. Um, Shit is fascinating, like genuinely fascinating stuff. Um, but Senator Armstrong specifically is a very specific character where he is supposed to represent the quintessential American nationalist, right? The quintessential American nationalist who believes in freedom and the manifest destiny mentality, right? And it really makes me think about what's happening right now, you know, with the various things that are happening. Like I think it's one of those. It makes me think about nationalism just in general, what it means to be a nationalist, right? Because I've been kind of trying to ruminate about what it means to be a nationalist in my head for years now, and Senator Armstrong kind of put some pieces together now that I watched another video about him. Shout out to Brett, one of the YouTubers that made a video about it. He talked about how what does it mean to be an American, right? And for me, as a Black American, as an Afro American, as a Solani, uh, it's a I'm trying to avoid saying black because I think there's going to be a lot of anti stuff in the future, or maybe just it's just easier to not because technically we're not that. We're Afro. We're Afro American, or you know, but it's not getting to that. The point is that as an Afro American, as a person whose lineage starts more directly from Africa, right? My people being brought from Africa to here, and various other places. I have connections to Native American history as well, but what does it mean to be a nationalist? The concept of a nationalist, it has been really on my brain since I watched that video, and I was like, man, because to be a nationalist, right? You have to believe in your country, in your nation. It's in the name, right? You have to believe in the mythology and the ideology of your nation, right? And that's with any country. That's with any nation. That's not just America. It's with you know other countries as well. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're in various parts of African countries, you know what I'm saying, or various parts of uh, Western Asia, Eastern Asia, Northern Asia, you get it, right? The whole ideology, like of being a nationalist, kind of uh, it's like it's a slippery slope because when you start down that rabbit hole, right, or that mentality, you believe that because you were born in this nation, right, like it's easy to, because you were born and raised in a certain nation, it is easy to fall prey to the nation's ideologies. Simply enough, right? And the problem with that, it becomes, if you're so focused on what the nation needs to survive, you start to not take other nations as seriously as you take your own, right? The slippery slope is where eventually you get to a certain part of that spectrum where you start actively being antagonistic towards other nations because they're not in agreement with your nation, right? Or they don't fall behind what your nation believes in. And that becomes a problem, obviously, because you start wars, you start issues, you start problems with people simply because your nation said, your nation's leaders say that this other nation is causing problems for this nation, right? And then you get into those high levels of, like Armstrong, for example, like he was the quintessential American, right? Like he was a Texas native, you know what I'm saying? He went to Texas, he played Texas college ball, you know what I'm saying? Like he would have went pro if he didn't go to the Navy, you know what I'm saying? Like he's very much that type of character that has a uh, like he wants America and the American mentality to be so strong, and like it's so Darwinistic in mentality where it's like the strong attacks, not attacks, but sometimes it happens where they attack the weak because they're weak. And because it's the strong wants to, if the strong wants to achieve something and there's somebody who's weak and that's in front of them, they don't care about the weak factor. They don't care about the fact that like the people that are weak should be protected, right? Because everybody's a part of the same system. It's like, no, you're weak. You're weak. You're just weak. So I'm gonna steamroll over you and do what I need to, you know, and use you or do whatever to achieve my own goals because I'm stronger than you, and I can get more work done. I can get more work achieved as opposed to you, right? Which goes into the unique aspect, not even unique, but like the specific aspect of what it means to be an American nationalist, right? Because if you're a white American nationalist, a WAN, a WAN, a WAN, a white American nationalist, right? You and literally, Raiden told Armstrong this. He said this. He said, "But you've never had to struggle for anything. You've never had to fight your way to the top. You were just, it just worked. It just worked out for you, right? But you think that because it worked out for you, that other people have that same opportunity. You just wasn't educated on what actually is the truth, because you don't want to learn about the full truth because your reality is working for you, right? You don't have a reason to know the full truth. You don't have a reason to be sympathetic towards the weaker people that you deem weak, right? The people that you deem weak, you don't have a sympathetic bone for them because they weren't around you, right? Because you didn't engage in that environment, right? It's literally that that same mentality of the slaver and the slavee. You know what I mean? The person that had enslaved somebody else because they just view them as weaker for whatever reason, right? And they was like, you just gotta work for me because I have the resources, and you need those resources to survive. So I'm going to force you into a contract, or I'm going to force this labor on you because I think you're weak, right? And that's that mentality of the American exceptionalism, American nationalism, that has been inherent and has been the the main driving force behind the biggest issues in our country as America, right? As Americans, like that's the biggest issue from the beginning of the country, from the 1700s all the way to now. It's been the same mentality. People who are in office believe that they're just better than other people, and they don't care about the lesser people because those lesser people, for them, they're only inconveniences. They've always been inconveniences, right? The whole ideology of America is that we are like that the weaker people that they deem weaker are just inconvenient to let have the same types of resources. If you give the weaker people the resources, like they have this idea that they're just going to take and exploit it, which is ironic because that's what they do. Right? Like that's literally what they do with the power that they have. They take it and they exploit it. But they think they have the right to exploit it because they think they're inherently better than the next person. Right? And that's that individualistic mentality that permeates all of American history, right? That's how America even started in the first place, because the pilgrims that came over here just decided that they were better than the Native Americans that were here. Started getting rid of them in any way, shape, or form, any means necessary, because of this egotistical, narcissistic mentality, right? Aided by a religious factor, right? This religious psychosis almost, right? Of being better than everybody else around you, right? And it you can see it permeate not just America, but you can see it permeate like other countries. You can see it permeate other types of groups of people. I think the Israelis is a good example. Scary. Like they're a good example of this. Like these people were German. Like these were German zealots. German Zionists. That's what they are. They're Zionists, right? They're German zealots who didn't like. They believed in something different than what the Germans believed, or at least the traditional Germans believed at the time, and they were being persecuted because of that. I'm not saying that's a good thing. But it's what you do in the aftermath that is still a problem, right? You decided that it was a good idea to go to a country that you had no business being in and taking that place over. Not just over there in Palestine, but also in Africa, right? A lot of places in Africa. The French did it, you know what I'm saying? So it's one of those situations where you have to think about like all of that starts because they're all in the same geographical area. You know what I'm saying? Up there in the cold. It was cold, right? They didn't. I mean, as a human being, I get it. Like, if you don't like being cold. You don't like being over there without all the food and stuff. Like, you want to not be in constant survival mode all the time. I get it. That's a reasonable mentality. But man, you know what I'm saying? There. Unfortunately, the way they went about trying to get better resources was to just be super aggressive about it, and that causes the time periods that we are in now. So you have to really think about that type of stuff when you engage in various types of media and various things, right? And it's just how it is. I think it's how it is, but it needs to change, and I think it will change. It's just you gotta believe in in humans, and I think for me, that's why I am a humanitarian. I've been saying this for years now, but I've been trying to slowly build up this. I've been trying to build it up. I've been trying to build up how does that look, right? And the problem is with trying to make humanitarianism a belief and a workable system is that it requires a level of it requires people to care about one another, right? And to want to see one another as human first. No gender, just human, right? Which then, if you go into the extremes of it, you can say, like, at a certain extreme, uh, it's that humans are better than other animals and we should be treating animals. We shouldn't be. I'm not saying that. It's just the fact that as humans, we need to be able to first see each other as humans, first and foremost, before we can even look at the idea that we might be treating animals wrong. Which, in my opinion, I do think we do not need to be treating animals the way that we treat animals, especially the animals that we eat. But that's a conversation that is a can of worms. As an omnivore myself, it's tough. It's tough to have that mentality and to see the levels of depravity that humans inflict upon various types of edible animals, right? Meat is meat. Meat is meat, and meat gets affected by how you treat it. Animals animals get affected by how you treat them. I know, go figure. Crazy. You know what I'm saying? You have a dog. You know what I'm saying? Your dog reacts to you, right? There's some countries that used to eat dogs. There's some countries that used to eat various things that we don't think is okay to eat. But let's be real. Like I said, meat is meat. You're still eating meat, right? That's why cannibalism is such a hot topic. It's not a hot topic, but it's like one of those things where it's like it's such a controversial topic because, like, at the end of the day, I'm a piece of meat, right? Other humans are pieces of meat. If you wanted to, you could. Doesn't mean you should, right? That's a slippery slope of cannibalism, or that's a slippery slope of being a carnivore, right? Which is why you shouldn't be a carnivore as a human being. You should learn. Humans are omnivores, but like, some people slide on the scale of more carnivorous than omnivorous. You know what I'm saying? So especially when you get into the American mindset, there's a little bit too much emphasis on meat. I'm gonna be honest with you. That all that meat propaganda, and you start looking at what happened in those e-files, and what happened in the, you know what I'm saying, those you know what I'm saying, the JE files, you know what I'm saying, the J files, the E file. I don't know how you want to say it, but you get the point, right? Like, you look at what's happening in those files, man. I wonder if that was part of the propaganda, right? The American propaganda. Yeah, red meat. We love that red meat. I wonder why you like red meat so much. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's you have to once you understand, once you learn it, or once you understand how that mental process works, you can't unlearn it. That's the thing about knowledge, right? What did Thanos say? You're not the only one cursed with this level of knowledge. Once you know something, you can't just unknow it unless you have dementia. You know what I'm saying? And you can't unknow it. You know it. Your body knows it. You remember it, right? And because of that, you have to move through life differently because you know this information. You know, I'm a person that is I would partially consider myself like an internet not I don't know how to say it, like the Indiana Jones of the internet. No, I don't know. I don't know how else to word it, but like basically I love to see people's um personal stories about things, right? Across the internet. People type all the time, yapping about their family situations, yapping about this happens, this happens. This is my personal story with working for this company. This is my personal story with doing this political thing, this and that. The internet is where it all comes out. All the truth is on the internet. You just gotta look deep enough, right? And once you start to figure those things out, and once you start to see that these, now I can't say that everything, but that's where all of it may not be true. That's why you kind of have to like make sure you read through certain things. You got use your human brain to understand that certain things might be fake. Certain things might be AI generated, right? Because that's online now. But realistically, an AI is not going to write a story about how they used to work in corporate America and this specific situation happened. You know what I'm saying? Like it the possibility of it could happen, of an AI writing these stories out, but like that would take a lot of effort from the AI user, right? The person that's using the AI to make these stories, that takes a lot of effort. Um, so I don't think we're at that point right now. But I just think that it really does give, if you take the time and effort to like really research and just just read what people say about their personal lives, you see it, bro. You see it. Like the system was broken before collectively we started realizing it was broken. From the 1700s, it was broken, right? It started out broken. It didn't start. It started out, you know. And as a Black American, that's something you inherently know. As an Afro American, that's something you inherently know. I'm still trying to unlearn that. As an Afro American, you that's something that is almost spiritually inherent, to know that the beginning of this country was always false, and there will be a difference between what the country is versus what the country wants you to think it is, right? Being being able to pierce that veil and see the true uh, the true nature is man, you know, not fun. It's not fun. It almost feels like it almost feels like you go psychotic. You go crazy, almost trying to like, when you see it, once you notice it, you can't unnotice it. So everything you say now is just outlandish to some people because they're still behind the veil. They haven't pierced through the veil yet. They haven't broken through. They haven't broken mentally, haven't broken out of the matrix, right? That matrix is still active in their programming, and I think, um, and that's the thing. Like as Gen Z, like we were never really, like we saw the veil being broken through media. The Matrix various science fiction. As a science fiction fan, as a science fiction nerd myself, more or less, like the veil was broken as soon as I saw the Matrix the first time. You know what I'm saying? Like as soon as I got into science fiction via Matrix, via shows, via certain anime, not anime, but certain like cartoons, you know. Uh, there's this show, this old ass cartoon called Cyber Chase. I don't know if y'all know that. There was an old children's cartoon called Cyber Chase. It's still going on to this day. It's long. It's a long ass. I haven't watched any new episodes, but like I used to watch it all the time. Cyber Chase is a perfect example of that. Of like for me, like right, and on top of that, like my dad was a big tech guy, right? So he understood like the the beginning parts of the internet before it really got insane, right? Um, and through that, like just various conversations with my dad and various experiences and stuff like that, various movies and TV shows, like you just start. The veil is gone. The veil wasn't there, barely. You know what I'm saying? Especially for Generation Z, right? For Gen Z, like that brainwashing is just it damn near is just out the window. You know what I'm saying? For some more than others. For me, it was super early. Um, for others, it took a little time because their parents weren't as tech savvy as mine were, or at least my dad was. Um, so it all kind of works into each other, and I think that's how it is, man. Uh, anyway, I just wanted to talk about that. Um, I don't know why my oh, why did I do that? Don't stop being weird. Anyway, I hope you guys like this video. Nobody really watches these, but this is more of like a vlog, like just to get my thoughts out there. Um, hopefully, people in the future resonate with these, um, because it's tough. It's tough, man. And it's tough being a Black American man. You know, like I'm pansexual, but like I still identify as a male, and I think that for me is a big statement. That's a big deal because yeah, if I wanted to, I could transition or I can be more feminine in nature or whatever, right? But I think there's a level of there's a level of like there's a level of like I don't know how to explain it. It's like for me, it's like identifying as a man is almost like I should say this: identifying as a man while also being learning to express my feminine side is almost revolutionary in its own right. Right? It's like a personal revolution. To be to be okay with that, to learn to be okay with that dichotomy, because socially people going like you're a man, you're identifying as a man, but you're not, but you got feminine tendencies and stuff like that. Well, yeah, I'm a human being, and human beings have feminine sides and masculine sides, but I choose to identify a certain way because that's my choice, right? And yeah, and I think it's that's that. That's that. That's I don't know what to say. I always keep these like 30 minutes. I guess naturally, like I just have a pretty good like 30-minute yap session brain. I guess I don't know. Yeah, bro. Senator Armstrong is sparked this video. Blame him. Okay, blame his fictional person. Metal Gear Solid has always been a fascinating pieces of art. as games and as storytelling and as art pieces, and just is go play them or go watch lore videos or go watch videos of people playing them. Man, it's insane. Honestly, it's like you can't get context without watching the cutscenes. I'm being honest with you. Like, it's hard, bro. You just, man, go watch Senator Armstrong's speech. He tells you everything you need to know about what's really important to an American nationalist. I'm not an American nationalist, but you start to see it in people every day, and like, that mentality is a little concerning. Uh-oh. Red flag. Uh-oh. You know? So, especially around especially around other Afro Americans, you gotta watch. If you're Afro American, you're watching this. You got to pay attention to that nationalist mentality. You have to. You have to, bro, because the nation is not built for you. They do not want you here, but you're here, right? Which means that you have to live in this system that actively that treats you like a virus, that treats you like a piece of bacteria that they don't want, right? Like a sickness. It treats you like a sickness when they're the sickness. You know what I'm saying? It's like a cancer cell trying to get rid of another cancer cell. How's that? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the white blood cells getting rid of bacteria and viruses and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But your whole existence was made because of the bacteria in your body. Don't give me. Just be aware, okay? Just pay attention, okay? I love you all. Stay strong. Stay awesome. Okay.